Fireside Chat is powered by Hybrid, where we heard a lot of conversation already about artificial intelligence and innovations. And we know that the industry today is on the verge of disruption due to AI and innovations. So when we convey on data-driven marketing, what is the future of the same? That is exploring AI-powered strategies and innovations. Let's hear it from my acclaimed speakers joining us on stage. First up, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming to spearhead this conversation. We have Mr. Aniket Powar, National Sales Head at Hybrid. Can we please welcome him with a round of applause? A warm welcome to you. Next up, joining us for this conversation, we have Anand Chakravarthy, Chief Growth Officer, Omnicom Media Group, India. A warm welcome to you. And next speaker joining us for this riveting conversation we are about to witness on stage, we have Sapna Desai, Chief Marketing Officer, ManipalCigna Health Insurance. A warm welcome to you, Sapna. Well, looking forward to this conversation. Over to Mr. Aniket to please take it ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope I'm audible. So good evening everyone, and welcome to this very interesting conversation that we'll be having with a very interesting panel as well. Hi Sapna and hi Anand. Hi. So before we actually start, I just wanted to set a context to this entire conversation. So in this rapidly evolving digital landscape, data has actually emerged as the lifeblood of modern marketing. Strategic use of data-driven insights has revolutionized how businesses engage with their audiences, make informed decisions, and optimize their marketing efforts. So without further ado, what we'll do is we'll in fact start with our conversation. First question to you, Sapna, is how different is data-driven marketing compared to the traditional marketing, and according to you, which is the better out of these two?
Good evening, everyone. Really glad to be here to this crowded room. Just a little background before we kind of have this conversation. I lead marketing and digital sales at ManipalCigna. We're a health insurance firm, and I've had an experience across services, largely I can say telecom, BFSI. So I'll talk from that experience, in this room. So coming back to your question, difference between traditional and whatever we call new age marketing. I think the way I would like to kind of think about this is that, take it first at two steps. One at the consumer level. So maybe when you say traditional marketing, it could be say a decade or so earlier, or maybe even earlier when you just had a single television screen, lesser media, no multiplicity of your phones. I guess that is when we kind of say traditional marketing. And I think when people talk about traditional, the whole sense is that, marketing to the family. So everybody's sitting down together, watching the commercials, and one Rama and one Mahabharat, and we are kind of doing that work. And compared to what we have today, which is everybody's got their mobile device, and you're talking on that device. There are different behaviors in the whole, even in the same group. So you're having a conversation, everybody's behaving differently. So I think marketing has definitely really evolved and is constantly evolving. So very interesting time for all of us to be here. I think if I have to call out just as start of this conversation, a couple of key changes that I see. I think earlier you would say that you were more reactive to being more predictive and proactive. It sounds very theoretical and but it's actually true. So I think getting narrower and more proactive, more predictive is an advantage we have now than what we had earlier. I would also say I think marketing is getting much more smarter. You would say traditional marketing was more of an art. We've all been through that era of great creative work, right? Anand, you would remember those days. creative was the star. And I would definitely say now with data and AI and tech, I really want to have a good media person in my team. I would really want to have a good smart media agency, driving maybe sometimes creative. I think that's the shift in my head, the way I see some of the things. I will continue conversation. I leave that here.
Okay, that's an interesting insight. Anand, the next question to you is, how is data-driven marketing changing the way marketers enable business growth?
Hi everyone, good evening. So look, just taking off from where Sapna was speaking about. So I think the reality is this, that data can be a bane, it can be a boon, it depends on how you look at it. The fact is that marketing is not an exact science, it's actually probabilistic. The chances of a consumer seeing your ad and the chances of the consumer having a need for your product and therefore going and buying your product, unfortunately, is actually probabilistic. So I think when we use data, which is more deterministic, I think sometimes we are expecting a lot to happen. And if I look at the previous panel, we were talking about programmatic. So it started over talking about how to target the right audience, and then the conversation went into viewability of ads, etc., etc. So in a way, what is digital doing? There was no question about having people to see your ads. People had to see your ads. If you don't see somebody's ad fully, how are you going to expect them to take an action? Right? So I think somewhere data-driven, and actually data-driven marketing is a very broad space. I think precision marketing, which is going deeper into cohorts, going deeper into segments, to my mind is actually a disservice to marketing. Because that's not how marketing really works. And the more and more you go narrower, especially when you're operating at top of the funnel, you're actually limiting your opportunity to grow. So I think, since you're talking about growth and data, I think depending in most categories, and we spoke about this, 8 out of 10 people are either medium or light users of the category. And there's only that 15 or 20% are heavy. So the moment you use data to segment an audience and target users of a category or frequent users of a category, when you're doing a top of the funnel campaign, you're already limiting the opportunity. So I think if you want to unlock growth, sometimes too much of data use can actually be an impediment versus being an advantage, right? And it depends on the category, of course. It depends upon, like somebody rightly said, the right panel. It depends on how much budget you have, right? So I think different companies at very different stages of evolution are using different tactics. For example, most startups start their journey with performance marketing, operating at the lower end of the funnel, and you try and mop up through performance interventions like search, more targeted campaigns. You try and mop up the demand that's in the category or in the segment you're operating in. But over a period of time, you will find that growth will stop happening because the number of people who are in the market for that category or for your brand is limited. And then you have to shift money to top of the funnel. It is an eventuality that every brand will have to do. Why is Google spending money on television? Technically, Google should not spend money on television. Why is Amazon, why does Apple need to spend money on top of the funnel? The truth is because if they want to create demand in a market like India for any of their products, they have to also talk to consumers on top. So I think growth through data-driven marketing is not a one-shoe-fits-all strategy. It depends on your category, it depends on what life stage the company, the business is in, and what are your ambitions for growth.
Okay. Fair point. Anand, I also understand for the fact that when we talk about data-driven marketing, AI also plays a very important role in ensuring that we are kind of talking to the right audiences, but also there's an added responsibility on the marketers to ensure the data privacy and data safety. So what is your take on that?
I think Sam Altman said it that AI is going to create some of the best companies in the world in the short term, but in the long term it's going to destroy this planet. Right? So I think AI, the truth is that nobody knows where it's going to take us. And the truth is that as data protection laws become stricter and stricter, I think it's going to have an impact on AI models because their access to quality data will only reduce. And I think that's when it's going to be challenging to trust all AI-driven platforms because you may not have enough of it. I think today if you look at the tech space, there will be hundreds of products all saying they are AI-driven. If if you scratch beneath the surface and find out what data they were trained on, how long has the algorithm been trained, you start finding that there are no answers. So I think one of the things you also have to be very careful of as marketeers, as agencies is, when you talk about AI-powered tools and tech, what really is behind the surface of this shiny object? And I would say 80% of the time you'll find that there is no real answer to why is that AI algorithm actually good at doing what it does. So I think it's early days. I think everybody's riding the wave. Suddenly generative AI has become the next buzzword. Everybody seems to have a generative AI tool. But like Sam Altman said in India, that you are never going to be able to create another ChatGPT because it's taken them a decade using billions of data points to train the algorithm. And for somebody to expect that I will build on generative AI algorithm overnight is not going to happen. So I think what I think is that yes, AI has a role to play. It will continue to improve, but I think it's still early days. A lot of the AI you're seeing, like Google and Facebook have been using AI for many years. So when you look at lookalike audiences, what is lookalike audiences? It's a classification algorithm they're using, where they're looking at broad signals and then classifying consumers into cohorts. And it's very, very nascent, even with the data they have. Even with Google and Facebook and the data they have, those algorithms are still learning. So to expect a new ad tech platform to come and say, I've just cracked it, my mind is to be taken with a sack of salt.
Since we are actually talking about data and data-led marketing, Sapna, my next question to you is, are we optimally using data-led marketing and strategies? What are the challenges marketers face when it comes to, the desired results that they need to achieve using such kind of strategies?
An interesting conversation, and Anand, I think also put it very well. There's a lot of noise out there, and you're forever looking at, what am I missing out? So there's so much of FOMO that you see. But you're so correct that if you dig deeper and then you say, really, this doesn't make sense. So I think that's there. Okay, so actually, if I have to look at that question, I think this whole thing of data as a new oil, everything enables growth, but really oil needs to be refined before you start using it. I mean, data, just as data, there's lots of data. Okay, as an insurance company or any other e-commerce company, you have a lot of data points that you can measure. The clicks, the usage, behavior. You can have a lot of data, and most companies have data. I think the challenge is really the structuring of that data. How structured is that data, and how can you really use it? So it's like research. You can use research, right? But I'm just giving a very simplistic example. Unless you know what you want to drive, it's very difficult for data to speak to you. So I think that's one key thing. I think we need to know what we are going after. And the second thing is that in terms of challenges, we've seen some, where it has really improved marks. So there are two levels, right? The cost of acquisition and the cost of retention. These are the two key KPIs for any marketer today. At what cost am I getting the customer in? How well I'm able to retain them? Simplistic. I think definitely using smart data tools, you are able to reduce your acquisition cost by various examples I can tell you, but definitely greater than 10%, which is very high. And stronger ROI, CFOs are very happy if you use that well. And also I think, like for example, in a business like ours, I think data is not just in terms of marketing, but even in terms of the products that you create. The products and solutions that you're able to create for that customer segment, and I think that's where the real magic is. Not just the messaging and the creative and so on, but if you're able to tailor the right product, based on the needs of that customer, the right pricing, based on the behavior, say for a motor insurance or a health insurance, you're able to do behavior-led pricing using data. I think that's a great potential. People are exploring, lots of things are happening. I think it's not a challenge. I would say it's an opportunity, but you need to go beyond the noise to really go to how to create value and enable growth.
Okay, fair point. So, before I actually go ahead with this conversation, a quick crowd question, right? how many of you actually use AI tools in your day-to-day lives? If I can get some hands. Okay. I just have one. I mean ChatGPT, I mean Bueller, Midjourney, all the content creators out there. Okay, okay. It's very few for the audience who's attending a DATAMATIXX session. But yeah, good to know that there are few who are regularly using it. The reason why I'm asking this is because next question is specifically on in that space, wherein where do you see the AI being used? Currently, we see AI being used to create content, write emails, create presentations. What are the key trends you see that might follow after this? Question can be both of you. I mean, you both can have a different take on the same.
Okay, I'll take it first. So I think, I'm really, let me say, I'm awed by the kind of stuff that can be done right now. So I've used Midjourney, I'm using ChatGPT regularly. So for content creation, blogs, I think is brilliant. It's like an intern, you're getting stuff much faster, fantastic. It's just that the talent that we have internally needs to get better than that. So I think it's great from a content, the possibilities are huge from social and content. So not only, I think listening, creating, there's a lot of possibility. Sorry, what was the whole crux that you were asking? So around, the second part was?
Where do you think AI might be used?
Okay. Okay. So fine. I think in terms of possibilities, again, I really don't know. I'm just sure about the fact that I think for us, I think we have to basically be very careful on how we kind of use this into our processes, into our systems as we kind of learn more of it. Because again, you're sharing data, you're sharing proprietary data. Where's the thin line? And I'm not sure about that right now. Again, in the BFSI sector, so it could possibly might be another solution. But at this point of time, I think we have to be very cautious, and I think that's the philosophy even Cigna worldwide has adopted. So we, for example, don't allow at the moment. I don't know. Maybe it's really on our systems any AI tools. It's not something that's something that we can do right now. But we need to see how this really evolves.
Okay. Your take on this?
Yeah, I think obviously AI is exciting and not just generative AI, all forms of AI. AI has been in our lives all the time, right? Like I said, Google and Facebook ads have always been using AI for automatic optimization, their keyword planner, creating lookalike audiences. All of that has been driven by AI. I think what's really exciting is that as deep learning has evolved and now we have generative AI, I think those applications they are wonderful and scary at the same time, right? I think that to my mind is really where potential marketing applications could be really, really exciting, right? And we've seen some examples of that already being adapted in, let's say, advertising, right? We saw the Cadbury's campaign using Shah Rukh Khan, using deep learning. And to my mind, I think when we talk about marketing, to my mind it's not about data-driven marketing, it's all about insight-driven marketing. And I think data is just an enabler to get richer insights, and data and AI can allow you to leverage that insight and do better quality marketing, right? I think data on its own is never going to do anything for you unless you really know what that data is saying. Is the data talking to you? Is it unlocking an opportunity? So if I look at where data is being used today, let's say in measurement, we've gone from an era of, let's say, very diagnostic kind of analytics to now prescriptive analytics to moving to predictive. So I think the predictive area is going to be really exciting, where powerful AI algorithms are going to actually tell marketers what are the likely outcomes much more accurately if you, let's say, deploy your $100 in this kind of a media mix. Or if you go after these 3 segments and remove these 2 segments, what is your likely revenue going to be at the end of 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? And I think the area of prediction is really, really interesting, because that is what marketers in a way, and definitely CEOs and CFOs want. They don't want to wait for the quarterly results to find out what's happening. They want to know at the beginning of the quarter what's going to happen at the end of the quarter, and the more powerful the AI algorithm to predict that. I think that's what marketers would love to have.
I think I will add on to this, yeah. Thanks for that thought. So very true. I think one example that I'd like to just share with this audience is like, I know that in BFSI you're using it very, some companies are, I don't want to kind of say who is, but in terms of retention, so you get a flag that this customer is going to be probably not going to renew. So you know, and you can change tactics based on the scoring of renewability, using AI tools. So it's absolutely true. So how do you predict if in this room who's going to renew their policy or not? We know through some methods. Yeah, so that's a good example. The other one I can also think about is actually, at the call center, using voice technology and AI tools, you can predict like this customer is, at this level of irritation. So Cigna does it, assigning the telecaller based on that experience. So yeah, the usage is immense. I mean, it all ultimately the investment will happen if there's a business outcome. So because these things are not, they don't come cheap, right? So the investment has to be linked directly to the ROI and the business outcomes.
On a lighter note, I think also AI is going to destroy a lot of things. So today, if you go onto LinkedIn and you open a post on LinkedIn, it actually gives you a Gen AI tool saying, our AI will help you write a post. The baki kya reh gaya? They made knowledge a commodity now. So suddenly everybody is going to be writing and waxing eloquent about every topic in the world on LinkedIn. What have you done? You're killing knowledge, you're killing experience, you're killing creativity. Right? So I think how AI is used also needs to be very thought through, because after some time I don't think the credibility of LinkedIn will exist if you're going to provide an AI tool to every person on LinkedIn so that they can use Gen AI to start writing posts for them. I mean, at some
question because आपने लिखा है कि AI ने लिखा है.
Right, I mean, I'm sorry, another lighter note. So, I have an 18-year-old son, and he had to send a mail to someone. I said, you please send the mail to me, because this person I know. So, he sent me a mail on WhatsApp. When I read the mail, the first thing I said, ChatGPT. So, he wrote back very angrily. He said, trust me, Dad, this I've written on my own. Right, and he had actually written it on his own. So, I think the other thing about AI is that you have to stop wondering कि किसने खुद किया या नहीं किया, किसी और ने किया. So it's going to make the world, I think, a much more complicated space. I think it's going to create deficiency of trust, and there are going to be a lot more questions you're going to ask of platforms, ad tech tools, etc. Because you just don't know कि हो क्या रहा है.
So the results of AI taking over, I'm sure the cliche question here is AI going to take away our jobs, right? I would just like to know how this might have happened in your individual organizations, or if AI tools have in fact replaced any specific individuals or any specific designations as such.
So I could go, look, I think it hasn't, we haven't seen a direct impact of AI immediately. But is AI taking away jobs? Most certainly it is. I think those who say it is not going to do that and humans will work with machines, it's rubbish. You're seeing in many sectors, jobs are in question. Right? If generative AI can write, if they can write code, if generative AI can test code, if generate and approve code, then what are Wipro, Infosys of the world going to do? Right? American companies will no longer need 10,000 people sitting in Bangalore to write code, test code, and approve code. So the truth is, will it affect jobs? It will. I think that it's stupid to believe it won't. So I think a lot of people don't like to talk about it because then it puts the spotlight on AI negatively. And we have seen this happening in industries. I think our industry, will it get affected? I think what it's doing to our industry specifically, it is making people down. Because as AI improves on platforms like Google and Facebook, look, they are publishers, they wanted to put more money on them. They are not here to make the world a better place. Let's be clear. Which means that they will create platforms that are becoming more and more intelligent so that anybody can work on the platform, set up a campaign, press a button and go to sleep. And they'll say our AI will do all the optimization, creative optimization, audience optimization, etc. So what is it going to make of marketeers and media planners? It's going to make you dumb, because your ability to control a campaign, optimize a campaign, etc. is going to start coming under question. So I think it will reduce the kind of people or the quality of people to hire for certain jobs. What it means, however, on the other side, we'll have to create new jobs. So like for example, there's something called an AI prompt engineer, whose role is to design prompts for generative AI tools. You lead a digital product or digital partnership position, which is a person who will partner with partners like hybrid, understand the product, test the product on a client, then scale it up. And today we don't have those kinds. So I think what it will do, it will take away some of the jobs where machines can replace humans to a large extent, but it will add jobs and job profiles to manage the complexity of a world driven by AI.
Your take on this, because we would love to know how BFSI is kind of managing the AI.
So, I mean, it's a thing that I've been telling my marketing team and myself, okay, you really need to upskill. Honestly, a lot of things, sometimes you're getting better content, better write-up from the AI tool than you're getting from your team. So, so it's not a great place to be in, honestly. So if I have to be candid, it just puts a big question mark. So I think it's going to be, and the other thing which again not many of us in this room I mean they won't like it. A 20-year-old can do stuff with AI and tools much better than the 30s. So it's a big shift that I'm seeing. Like as you said, my daughter is now 19, 20, and 14. They are very early adopters. And interestingly, they've been using some of these tools before they even started getting famous, and they just know it much faster, more intuitively than us. We need to kind of figure this out, and they're all coding, and coding by system, building stuff. So they're more doers. I think what has happened in our, is that we've become, because as you said, become dumber or whatever will make people dumb. I think it's something we need to really think about. Because I think all of us need to kind of really, really upskill constantly, keep learning. I would say keep doing more than watching. So I think that's very critical. So AI can be great if you are using it. If you know how to use it, you are still very valuable talent. No challenge, because you're harnessing AI. In fact, it will be great to have that person as part of the team. But if on the other side, if you're not using it and if the output is lesser than what you get, yes, there is a bit of a challenge. So I think the onus is on us, all of us, to learn, upskill, harness, and be doers. I mean, it's a challenge. But I don't think AI can take away stuff. Okay, so I still am not in that camp that that it will take away, because again it's like data. I mean, you have to know how to use it. So I think usage, optimize it, know, and I've seen how these prompts work, like you said. I think it's very important to know what you're going after to get the right output. So I don't think it'll take away stuff, but I do think we'll have to relearn a lot and very rapidly. So I think that's my view on this.
I think we have some contradicting thoughts on this question. But I'll go with Sapna. I agree with you a little more. Sorry, Anand, for that. It's because we at Hybrid, we are the core technology is actually driven by AI, and I don't see that AI will take away jobs. Is because AI in our company is actually creating more opportunities for people to come join us and probably explore, learn, and probably benefit out of it. So at the end of the day, what we do is creating different kind of targeting parameters using AI. So Hybrid has a lot of different opportunities when it comes to I would say contextual targeting. So how does the contextual targeting actually work, right? We analyze using AI. We have capabilities to analyze a complete page, understanding how a user is reading a certain set of content and how can we target him with the most relevant kind of advertiser who's looking for such kind of users. So yeah, moving on to the next question. Just wanted to understand, and this is a direct question to Sapna, what are the possible business advantages of AI in BFSI as a sector, very specific?
See, I think I did mention this in my in some bits of the conversation earlier. So I think I have to quantify it. I think it can definitely bring your cost of acquisition your cost of marketing down by 10 to 20%. So I think if you use that systematically, you're definitely going to be able to show stronger ROI on your business. I think that's one thing, both in terms of acquisition and retention. And I think that's one case study. The other thing is how you can really use it to improve customer experience and loyalty, which is another very important part of the BFSI sector. So the moment of truth at the point of claims, at the point of underwriting, if you know the profile and if you know the cohort, you know how to deal with that situation, and the experience is better. So the stickiness to the product, real-time use, so data and real-time usage of data, into your processes. I think that's where the miracle starts showing up in terms of results.
Okay. Anand, from an agency perspective, just wanted to understand how are clients reacting to this change? What are the demands? Do we see a lot of these brands coming to agencies like you, asking for AI-led solutions, asking specially to give them some innovations based on AI? I can specifically again talk about generative AI. I recently saw a very interesting case study by Mondelez, who actually created a happy birthday song, a unique happy birthday song, creating 4 different, I would say, AI tools, generative AI tools, and that was pretty interesting. So yeah,
That's the bomb.
yeah.
So very quickly, look, I think there are different types of clients. Some clients want to do innovation because you want to be the first, number one, chalo innovation karo, pull out an award. I think eventually clients want to know how is it going to help them drive an objective. In most cases now, marketers talk to us about sales and revenue, right? So I think most marketers, their focus is very clear. Marketing is no longer about vanity metrics, it's all about sales and revenue, right? I'm sure Sapna will agree that that's the conversation you're having with the CFO and CEO. So I think yes, is there interest in trying out new tools? Certainly. But I think there's also a bit of skepticism. So our recommendation to client is never, here's a wonderful tool as a great story, let's use it. It's always test and learn, right? So you put in a little money, you test it, see whether it's working, then scale up a bit. So it's not, you're never going to take one new platform which is a shiny object and put lots of money on it. It doesn't make sense. Because one, you don't know whether the platform will work. Two, there are 10 other platforms waiting in line to be tested. All with equally exciting stories. And trust me, the stories that we're getting every week are more and more dramatically exciting. And you don't know what is the truth, like I said, what's beneath the surface. So is there interest? Certainly. Are we exploring and experimenting with tools? Of course we are. We continuously do that because we don't want to miss on an opportunity to improve ROI for the client or improve business results for the client, which is the focus of what we do. And therefore, I think it's going to be an ongoing process. The challenge we have is for every client that we have or opportunity that we have, there'll be 20 different ad tech platforms all coming with solutions. And the challenge for the agency and the marketer today is, where do you have the time to evaluate all of them? Who's going to give you a test and learn budget for 20 platforms? Nobody. So eventually you pick and choose a platform basis the credentials or the case study, you test it out, if it works, you scale up, otherwise you end up not dealing with many of them, and some of them could be good, but that's just the nature of the beast.
So I guess we're almost out of time. So just would like to have some concluding thoughts on this entire topic of discussion from each one of you. Yeah.
So I think it's a great time to be in marketing and media. So I think we should really, it's really great and exciting. A lot of opportunities to do new stuff. So all the best to everyone here to be able to leverage that and take that forward. And I think I'd like to end with that.
Yeah, I completely second what Sapna said. It's a super exciting time to be alive. I think the possibilities of AI in your personal life, your professional life are so phenomenal. It's unbelievable what's happening, and to be able to be part of that experience is, I think, a privilege. But the one thing I would say is that don't shy away from trying it out, and just my call to all my teams is always that try it out. Don't shy away from doing it. You've got to use every possible tool that you come across, because you never know what it can unlock, right? So I'm a big user of ChatGPT. I'm a big user of DALI, which is again a ChatGPT tool which converts text to images. So most of the presentations I make, all the images are AI generated because it allows you to create fantastically relevant images that you will never get by searching on Google, right? And I think you just have to adopt. And it's the same thing that happened when digital marketing came in. Everybody had depredations that no, digital doesn't work, then digital works, then digital works brilliantly, then digital doesn't work. And you kept experimenting and learning, but if you don't try, I think you'll lose out on opportunity. So embrace what's eventually going to happen, because you'll lose out if you don't.
So on a closing note, I would like to say we've actually had two different point of views, right? One from the brand side and one from the agency side. It was pretty interesting, though most of the times contradicting. It was pretty interesting, the conversation. And all I can say is we need to embrace the challenge with open arms and be cautious and responsible for the entire conversations that we'll be having in the near future. So thank you so much. We've had a great conversation. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure having this discussion with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Aniket and our speakers for sharing your insights with us. May I please invite back on stage Priya Mishra, Marketing Manager at Gully, to felicitate our speakers. Ladies and gentlemen, let's show some energy for this wonderful conversation we just witnessed.